All right. Well, I guess that means that we are back with a brand new episode. This is part two. Hold on. Part two of the Siser After Dark Live. Hey, everybody. I'm Patrick Ali. Really excited about this. I already see a bunch of you folks are in the comments jazzing away. So make sure that you let us know where you're watching from. Continue to let us know. Make sure that you're hearting all the comments. I actually have two special guests hanging in the back side of the room for this live. We have, well, my boss, our marketing guru, I guess you could say, is Maya hanging out in the comments. And our managing director is sitting in to watch all of your comments, answer your questions. So if you guys have any questions, you know that we have people always in these lives answering away whatever we can, but we're going to try to get to every single one. Also, thank you to everybody that is in Ellie Mae and anybody else that's here. I'm looking for names on the sidebar, but thank you guys so much for also monitoring comments for us. So last week we talked, or sorry, last live, part one, we actually talked about Leonardo Design Studio and we went over the Juliet cutter. So I think what we need to do is we need to continue the education through that bottom toolbar inside Leonardo Design Studio. And then I'm also going to show you, because this was a big question that I got asked from the actual last After Dark Live, is how do we actually bring in and utilize a PNG file? So we're going to actually do that today. And I'm going to show you one other thing that you can utilize Leonardo Design Studio for, and that is making your own mock-ups. Meaning that when you have a customer, let's say that you're trying to start a business or you are a business owner, we can make mock-ups for our customers right inside Leonardo with actual shirts and files and all of that stuff, and it makes it look really awesome. So we're going to do that today, and then we'll answer any questions along the way. So if you guys have any important ones, make sure that you ask them. We'll get to them as soon as we can. But before we just dive directly into this, if you are not already following us on all Siser platforms, make sure that you go check out Siser North America everywhere. That's how you can stay up to date on all things Siser all the time. So with that, now we're going to hop directly into Leonardo. So I'm going to actually jump directly into software. And I know you guys miss me all the time. So I'll give you, my photo or my a little video of me on there too, so we can still talk to each other. So inside Leonardo Design Studio, where we ended last time with our training was actually from the build contours menu on to the end. Now there's going to be some of these, as you guys are creators yourself, some of these are going to be really easy. You're going to say, Patrick, I don't even need to know that. But guess what? I'm going to tell you anyway. So then you can say that you were told about it. So first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead into the design library. Now, if you don't know anything about Leonardo's design library, this is an extensive library that's actually made by all of our graphic designers in-house, and all of it commercial free. So we're just going to grab this Valentine's shoe because I just want to make this really, really simple and use a simple design for these next couple of examples. So with this on screen, I'm going to go into the build contours. Now, this is typically where you can transfer or change something like an SVG, which we have on screen, or a scalable vector graphic into a print and cut image. And what we'll do is we'll go into the build contours, click on the little star, and from this menu, you have two options. Now, for any of you out there that may be a sticker maker or also maybe somebody that likes to add an additional cut contour around their design, but you like having more of a living vector image, you can always hit editable contour and you can scale this on up and you can give yourself a really nice contour. But for this case, what we're going to do is, I said, we're going to convert this SVG into a print and cut. So instead of clicking on the editable contour, I'm going to click on print and cut logo. And as you can see, as soon as I click on print and cut logo, that blue line is snapped all the way around my design, which just is indicating to me that this is now a print and cut image, okay? So this is a really quick, really convenient way in software that if you bring in an SVG, so if you're an illustrator, a maker, you have your favorite design from your favorite website, you can bring that in as an SVG file and convert it quick, okay? So we'll stop at that point with converting into the print and cut from that screen. The next option on this menu, ooh, I gotta bring up a little heart for this one because it's gonna show way easier. There we go. So I'm going to bring a heart on screen here, and I'm just going to change it to black so it's easy to see. This next option inside the design tools inside Leonardo is going to be your line fills. And what I really like about this is this was a module or a tool that was designed for us when we launched our etch tool. So if you are an etch or engraver, this is a great tool for you to use. It's very quick, convenient. And you see it's already set up my file for me. So I'm ready to go. But a little pro tip for you, I can create just standard lines. I can change the gap size. So basically changing the gap size adds or subtracts detail from your design or detail from your etch, okay? But the reason why I say this is that if I actually change the gap size and make those lines a little bit closer, I can now throw a pen inside the pen adapter or use a sublimation marker with my Juliet or my Romeo and physically actually color this shape in. So it's a really good option, not only if you are somebody that likes etch and engraving, but its secondary use for this is also being able to color right within software. So I think it's a really cool option or opportunity for you. And the nice thing is with Leonardo Design Studio and the line fill options is you can actually save these presets. So let's say that I like the straight lines and I like the gap size to be 0.047 for every project that I want. I can go in, save that preset. It saves it to your hard drive. So if you have any friends at home that have Leonardo, really easy way to share. Heard there's might be a new cutter out there in the industry, and I don't think you can share cross-platform. I'm just throwing that out there, just for the sake of the live. But with that said, there are also options, whether you are a Leonardo Design Studio basic user or you're a pro subscriber. So up top, you'll see your standard fill patterns come in lines, angled, hatch fills, multi-line work. Then you'll also have some premium options as well. So that's the nice thing about Leonardo is we put it right in front of you. Whether it's a basic or a pro, we want you to know right away. So anytime you see that premium, that is a good indicator that that might be a pro option as well. With that, we're going to move out of the line fills, and we're going to cruise on down to the RhineStone tool. Now, as RhineStone makers, I want to, you know what, bring this camera up. I want to make this very clear because all you RhineStone makers out there, I know this. Your software's super expensive. It's super shoddy sometimes, and you still have to do a bunch of redesign or reconfiguring to make your art files work. Let me show you the power of this RhineStone tool in here. So watch. We're going to go back in software, pop myself back up because I know you'll miss me. But what I'm going to do is click on my image. I'm going to go down to the same menu options where the build contours and the line fill, and I'm just going to scoot down the road a little bit to the RhineStone. Watch what happens. Click it. My RhineStones are done. Hit accept. I just made a RhineStone template that fast. I'm just going to let that sink in for a second. I made it that quickly. And you guys know as RhineStone makers how long some of these things take. So it's a really awesome, powerful module. Now let's go back into the RhineStones because I want to show you what actually comes with it. So inside the RhineStone tool in Leonardo, one of my favorite parts about this is I can designate not only the color of my RhineStones, I can also change the stone size, and we have every size available for you. Most of you know SS8 to that SS12 or SS16 is your standard, but I'm just going to select that. The other option that you have in here is extra padding. So this is basically the gaps in between each individual rhinestone within the pattern. And then this is the best part, okay? Not only did we create a really cool module, but we're thinking about you as the business owner too, okay? So listen to what we have next. If we go to the cost calculator at the bottom of this module, it'll not only you can put in your cost per stone, but it will also break down exactly the image, the stone count, and then already give you the cost total. So right there, we've done 80% of the sale for you. All you have to do is go give it to the customer and say, hey, sorry, it's going to be a few extra dollars because, you know, this might cost me $70 to make. So with that, that is up to you to decide for your own business. But also the cool part is not only do you change from those standard colors that are in there, I can also select from whatever color spectrum or whatever color I want. Now in the fit and fill options, this is just kind of how we're treating the rhinestones. So whether we want to do a borderless fill, a border only fill and change the offset to be a little bit further from our shape, or maybe we want to do a fill only, or maybe we want a combination of both, where we want the border fill and we want to actually fill in our entire shape itself. All of that is accessible. All of that's really easy within Leonardo. Now, also moving on down to like the fill options, you have a ton. You have not only your grid fill, you have a hex fill, which kind of obviously works in more of a hexagonal pattern, but then you also have your smart fill. And that is where we saw the first time when I actually clicked on the RhineStone tool, how it automatically started spreading everything out and filling my shape. That's a smart fill at work. It's just doing the work for you. I'm seeing right here on a comment too, is that I'm not seeing the RhineStone option. I'm not seeing the RhineStone option. I have Leonardo Design Studio Basic. Yes, the great question. This is a premium feature for the RhineStone tool. But the cool part is with our software and our software team is we're making those decisions all the time of like what makes more sense to maybe move on, or what new tools can we bring to you to enhance and make your life a little bit easier when we are creating all of our designs. You know, so that's one thing I will say. Although some of these are premium, that doesn't mean that you still can't use the power of Leo. And you never know, maybe after this live, I got the two decision makers in the room. Maybe we'll give away something as they're both staring at me. Okay, well, we're moving on. So I'm going to move on from the RhineStone tool. So we got a couple little shapes up here, and we're going to move over to all of like the weld options. Now, I know for some of you, you're like, Patrick, I don't need to see all the weld options. I can assure you that there's a lot to kind of dissect with this. So I want to go through this step by step. And I'm going to bring up a bunch of squares. I think this is the easiest way to understand this tool itself. So let's go ahead and bring up there, copy and paste that one, copy and paste that one. Or as you saw me slow myself by having to copy and paste, I can always bring up one simple shape. And one of the tools that we will be traveling to that we actually did talk a little bit about last time is that tile array, where I can auto fit and I can automatically scale, or I mean, automatically multiply my images. Let's not get ahead of ourselves. We're going to get into that portion in a minute, but I just wanted to kind of show you a little bit of what's to come here in a few moments. So now that I have all of these options, or I'm sorry, now that I have all of these squares up, let's go ahead and go through all of these weld tools and what they mean. So I'm going to change these both. Now, if I have two shapes, okay, for anybody out there brand new or anybody out there that's never used a design software before, I can highlight both of my shapes, go down to my weld options and simply weld them together, which creates one continuous shape. It basically marries those two together, and now they're married for life, okay? 25 to life, as some of them would say. But anyways, I'm gonna now, instead of welding, let's weld those together. The next option that I have down on this tool is going to be the remove front, okay? And so what this option is, I'm going to duplicate this square, and I want to show you on screen. You can see that I have a larger square and a smaller square. Well, here's what the remove front does for us. If I highlight both of those shapes and I go down to my weld options and hit remove front, this will knock out the front layer from the back layer, okay? Secondly to that, and not to get confused with the next option that we have, and I want to set this up the exact same way, we also have in software what's called stamp keep. And what stamp keep does for you is not only does it remove the front layer from the back layer, but it also retains, it keeps that front layer for you, so you can do what we like to call the fake knockout. So if you're doing maybe a glitter project and you have glitter on glitter, you know that those two materials can't be layered on top of each other. So you may have to utilize this tool to do a fake knockout. Okay, now with that, I'm moving on down to the weld options. We have another one that I really like, and this is called Intersect. Okay, so I want to actually bring up a photo because I think this will be way easier to see with a photo. I'm going to import, let's see what I got downloaded here. Here, we'll use my face. Sorry that you guys have to see my face again, but we're going to use my face for this.
We love your face.
Johan said in the back, we love my face. I appreciate that. Appreciate it. All right, so I'm going to now just go through my basic screens. I want to show you this tool more extensively in a moment. So that's why I'm just going through here quick. We're going to bounce back to this and actually bring in a PNG here in a moment. So let me get all that done and the print to cut. Okay, so when we have an actual image, okay, we have a photo of a family or whatever it may be. Let's say that we want to take just Patrick's face out of this whole image that we have. I can bring up a heart because, you know, why not? Why not give myself a heart in this case? I'm going to change the color just so I can see. And when you guys see me in a lot of these lives or when we do these types of things, when you see me change the colors to oddball colors, this is just so you can see exactly what I'm doing all the time. I want to make sure it's easy to see, it's easy to understand. So I'm going to actually change this to a stroke just because I want to make sure that I get all of my face, contrary to popular belief, all of my face into this heart here. We're going to grow that out just a little bit. There we go. And then now I will change this back to a fill. So now I have a shape on top of an image, okay? So what I'm going to do is I'm going to highlight the image and the shape that I want to intersect. I'm going to go down to my intersect tools, and just like that, I've now taken my photo and created a shape out of it. And I know for some of you, that's going to blow your mind to see that happen in a software, and especially see that happen in a software that fast. But it is a very, very convenient tool. Let's say you got, family reunion. You got the spread of the whole family. You all took a beautiful photo together, and you want to put, Walkley family, or you want to put, I think Ali family might be a little bit too short of a name for a big family, but you have a longer name and you want to put it in there. Well, you can do that really conveniently right from Leonardo from a click. We're talking about a click of a button, not moving a bunch of things around and having to do stuff. A simple click of a button. Fast, convenient, easy. All right, so let's go ahead now. I'm going to remove my face for a little while, so nobody be sad. We'll bring that onto the side, and let's travel on down to that those weld options a little bit more. So now we have the slice intersect, okay? The slice intersect on Leonardo, we're just going to simply go ahead and bring two shapes together, change the color, and we will click slice intersect. Now what you're going to notice happens is it will remove the front layer, but watch the magic here. I actually intersected still those two shapes to create a new shape, okay? So that's that tool of all the weld options, or the different weld options that you have available for you. Really simple, really convenient. Some of these are pro features and some of them are Leonardo basic features, okay? So to kind of clarify, let's go in, and I'm going to switch my software on over to basic. And so we can see what's really available for us. So you have your weld, you have your remove front, you have your intersect. So the three big tools that are on that toolbar are also available in basic. Okay, so I want to make sure that we clarify that, because I think a lot of people ask, hey, this should be in basic, this should be in pro. I get it. That's why we're also trying to find new ways and better ways to present our software to you. So okay, next we're going to go through probably, I would say, everybody's favorite. At least I know in this room it's most people's favorite.
Can you maybe repeat I didn't understand the slice.
Oh yeah, oh yeah, absolutely. So somebody mentioned that they didn't understand the slice intersect, okay? So I'm going to do this one more time for us. We're going to connect these two shapes, and let me go in, and I'm going to make a little bit bigger option. Here we go. And then we're going to change this, and I'm going to change this to a stroke, and I want to change this to a stroke. And I think this will help to understand the explanation, and then when I click the button again, it'll make sense. So in a normal intersect, you are taking an image and you're creating a shape, okay? In a slice intersect, what you're doing is you're still accomplishing the same thing, but you're removing the front and you'll keep just the intersection. It's basically just removing the piece that you want, as opposed to removing your whole image out of your thing. So right here in a slice intersect, we would actually, these two corners, or this new shape that's here, is what is actually going to show up once we're done. So let me go back to fill. We'll fill this one in. And then let's go ahead and go to slice intersect one more time. And as you can see now, there is that intersected shape or intersected item between those two shapes that we had. Does that make sense that way? Okay, cool. Let's go in. Let's see. Tool, there's a standard way to do this. Leonardo does their own. Zoom especially just kills me, and I want to use the mouse wheel or pinch fingers on a trackpad. Ooh, this is a great question, and I love when I get these challenge questions, because this is an awesome one. Do you have any thoughts on a pan and zoom? In almost every tool, there's a standard ways to do this, but Leonardo does their own, and zoom especially just kills me. I get where you're coming from. I want to use a mouse wheel or pinch fingers or a trackpad like every other tool. Well, let me show you exactly how to do that, because you can. So let's go in. I'm going to bring my pretty face up just for the sake of this conversation. If I want to, let's see, let me just make this big enough. Let's say that I want to zoom into this image and just use my trackball. I'm going to hold down shift and I'm going to use my trackball on my pad, okay? If I don't hold down shift, that will then move my image north and south, just like you're panning a normal website. Now, if I hold control, that's going to bring my image east and west. So no matter how you want to orient or no matter how you want to be able to zoom, there's two simple hotkeys that you have to click. And that's a really easy. I know that we also too over on the Siser NA website, as well as in our Facebook group. So if you're already not a member of Siser North America support on Facebook, we have a hotkey document that actually lines all of this up for you. So it gives you every single one of the hotkeys that work. So I'll do it one more time for the sake of anybody doing a replay. If you hold down shift, you can use your trackball or you can use your trackpad on your computer, your laptop, to zoom in and out. If you hold down control, that will move your image from east to west. And if you don't hold down anything, look, hands up here, I promise, I'm actually being able to scroll up and down like I would a normal website, okay? So I love those questions. So if you got those kind of questions, let's ask them because you have me here to ask. Why shift? Why not the same, for example, Photoshop or other programs? Hey, listen, we like being a little different. That's all. We like putting our own little spin on things. So either way, it's super simple hotkeys to use. All right. With that, let's move on to the next image, or the next option, which is all of our warp tools. And I especially love anytime I do a new training to show this design specifically, and I'll tell you why. This is the first print then cut image, and I have this actually in my office signed by everybody that worked on software and everybody that worked on the cutters. First print and cut image that we actually successfully did on a Juliet. So I love using this as the example. That's also a little nostalgic for me, even though it's only a couple years old. So I'm going to actually build my artboard. I'm going to grow it like we showed you in the first one by changing simply the length. And we're going to create just a 1 yard piece of material, okay? And from there, I'll use that tile array again, just quickly to auto fit. So I have enough of these to show you. Now, using my zoom by holding shift and zooming in, and then being able to go north and south and east and west, I'm going to go to that first create logo, and we're going to go over the first warp tool itself. Now on this panel, the first warp is called free mesh warp. It's just, all it is a bunch of points that you're able to manipulate in any way that you see fit. So that is your mesh warp, okay? From there, when we travel down the warp tools, you guys love that. I know this is a fan favorite, especially 4th of July t-shirts, is the flag warp. Okay, so the flag warp is a really fun one. This is how you can do those fun step and repeat designs on a shirt and things like that. But that's available for you. Again, a simple click of a button inside software. And then the next warp that we run into is going to be the globe warp. Now, for my wife and I, we are ornament makers during Christmas time. So part of what we like to do is we like to make ornaments, but really rounded and the really hard curvature of a rounded bulb sometimes is hard to really make sure your design fits flat and straight. So with this, you already start on kind of that global warp, and then you can also make micro adjustments to kind of fit whatever environment that you're working with, okay? So it's a really fun, convenient, easy way. And hopefully this next coming winter, I know Christmas is over now, but maybe following Christmas, we're going to see some ornaments made with this one. The next option on the warp panel, as we kind of travel down, now these two are, I call them same, but different. They both operate similarly, but I'm going to show you the distinct difference in both of those. Okay, so we're going to start with our tube warp, which works basically, think of this as like your name and number on the back, right? It's just going to give you a simple arc and a simple warp. You're good, Maya, on that one. you're so fine on that. Nobody can hear you. But the cool part about this and what I really love, especially all my West Coast friends in here right now, you guys love the billboard hats. You see me every time. I always have the billboard style cap. What I really love about this warp is I can create this design and I can actually fit it already for my billboard. And I always say, like, this is the old Taco Bell logo, live Moss a little bit, people. So the big difference between why I wanted to explain the tube warp and then also the next warp that we'll have on here, which is going to be our circle warp, is the reason why they work the same is they both create that arc. However, think of the tube warp as, again, your name and number. Think of the this warp itself. Think of this as more of like your high school left chest logo, right? You put your high school name on here, you stretch that around the circle, and then you have your mascot kind of in the center. So all of these tools are still manipulatable. You can make it bigger, you can make them smaller. As you just saw, I can also scale them long around my shape as well, or I can simply grab the center and I can bring those around that circle in that fashion, okay? So I'm gonna go and let's stretch that out so I don't look like a crazy person for the playback there. All right, now moving along down the tools, the next warp is going to be, okay, I have to explain this one, and I explain this the same way in any training I do. You guys remember when PowerPoint only gave you like 2 options for word art? It was like bold font or it was 3D. This is why I love this warp. So we actually have a 3D warp built into software. So I can select that, and all I need to do is drag from the corners, and watch how crazy this illusion is. Look at that. That's insane. So now I have a really fun 3-dimensional kind of text field. But the cool part is too, is like if I wanted, let's go ahead and duplicate this design. And then let's flip it over really quick horizontally. And then we'll align those two kind of together. Look at how fun this is. This is why I really like this tool a lot. Let me highlight, zoom in. That's pretty cool. So a lot of things, a lot of really fun things that you can actually do with these warp tools, even though you don't realize, you know, like the full extent. You just got to play. You just got to try. All right, so I'm going to delete that, keep that on screen. And now this is the true fan favorite warp tool. It's the cone warp. So all of you out there that make tumblers, all of you out there that make sublimatable tumblers. Oh, here's one right here. Oh. Anybody out there that makes these and likes making these, likes making cups, all of those kind of things, I'm going to show you something that's pretty incredible. All you have to do is measure the top diameter of your cup, the bottom diameter of your cup, and the length of your cup. When I go into this tool, I now open up this really fun module. Now, it looks, I get it, it looks kind of rudimentary right now, but watch the power of how this operates. Again, we've talked about, we measure the top diameter, measure the bottom diameter, and then we can measure the length of my cup. Now I can do a straight wall tumbler. I can do, like this is kind of more of that Starbucks cup looking tumbler or a cup itself. I can also scale the width of my artwork from this page, or I can change the position. So I can keep it in auto position, which typically likes to keep your design centered to your piece of substrate that you're going to actually apply to. But I can also change the position just from a couple clicks of a button. The other awesome part about this tool that I really, really love is the fact that we can actually unwrap these now. We can see everything laid out flat, whereas typically you can't see all of these really super laid out flat, and you can't see that curvature that you're looking for. And also for all my tumbler friends out there that like doing flooded tumblers and things like that, you can grab the cup and check this. Look at that. Little 3D action for you. You can check inside there, see if you got anything in the cup. Or you can always check the backside. You can make sure those seams are straight, and even all of those are available to you. And then also shout out to our software team. This was like a last minute add-on to this tool right before we launched, but adding a top mark. And what that does is that actually adds, let me hit apply. That actually adds a little registration mark for you. So now I know that when I'm going to go and line up my design, I can line that registration mark up with the top of my cup, my tumbler, my mug, my whatever. And then I know that that image is going to fall perfectly into place exactly where it is in software. Pretty cool, I think. Hold on, I got to get a little water too. I'm sorry, guys. Anywho, let's move on. So those are all of our warp tools. So for anybody that is at this point and watching the hashtag replay, back up about 5 or so minutes, and you're going to see all of them kind of all together. Alrighty, let's delete all of these, erase them. I know I'm so sorry that we're getting rid of our artwork here. And I'm going to bring up a normal board. So let's keep on traveling down the actual tool menu itself. And what I want to do is I want to actually get into bringing in a PNG so I can really show you how to import those designs. The rest of these, for most of you designers out there, people that have even seen a design software, you're going to know most of them. Okay. So from here, this is where we have our simple tools like our rotate, mirror horizontal, mirror vertical. This is a great option, a duplicate option, okay? Now, with a duplicate option, what it will do is it will duplicate your design, and it just drops it kind of into place off of your design. Not to be confused with that, let's say that I'm making, it's Valentine's Day, I'm making a bunch of hearts, and I need to duplicate these as quick as possible. Well, you guys know that there's now a manual way to duplicate, and I can duplicate these as many times as I want, or like I showed you before, the other option is that tile array option where I can scale. It brings all to one. I can scale all of my design. If I have one image on screen, and let's say that I'm doing a 12 by 12 piece of cardstock, okay? And I just want to cut out hearts because we're making some fun stuff for the kids' Valentine's Day class thing, right? I can make my one heart. I can change the gap sizes in between each of the individual copies, and I can change manually vertically and horizontally how many fit on my screen, or the power of an auto fit is I can just hit auto fit. And now I have, let's actually click on this really quick. I have 12 of these now that just duplicated for me. So super, super fast. So for anybody out there, I know I've talked about this a lot too in different lives, but I want to really explain this because this is an important point to know, is that if I have a standard piece of material, so let's say 12 inches by 36 inches, which is 1 yard, okay? And I want to duplicate this, this heart and see how many of these at, let's see, 4.5 roughly inches are going to fit on here. I can go to that tile array, hit auto fit. I get an idea right here of how many copies, hit apply. And now I've just taken a 1 yard piece of material and I know exactly how many copies I can get out of it in one cut. I know exactly how long this job is going to take me. And I know exactly now what my waste is. And as we talked about in part 1, one of the fun parts for any of you business owners out there is under the file tab and the job notes is you can now start to create your notes for your projects, right? I can say, you know, the kids' Valentine's Day class, this is what we're doing. This is how many we're cutting. This is how many I need and all of that kind of information, but also the job info. The job info is going to be your saving grace as a business owner. This is now getting technical on exactly down to the square inch, not only of what type of material or how much material you're using, how many of these cut files you can do. And it really is going to start to allow you to start knowing your revenue and knowing your workload. Because you guys know as business owners, we don't ever value our time and labor. Well, now I have a little bit of data that I can use as my backup of that time, labor, energy, and effort, all those kind of things, okay? So let's delete all of these. Do we got any big questions coming in and that aren't getting answered yet?
Loving the tools.
Awesome. That's awesome. I did see somebody, where can we get access to part 1? I will tell you, anybody out there that does want access to part 1, it is going to be uploaded on YouTube tomorrow along with part 2. So we wanted to make sure that we did 1 and 2 together before we put both of them out, just so everything is in one location and one space. And we'll continue to upload those, especially as we get other teachers in here, because you will see other faces at some point. I promise you.
Be saved for reuse.
Ooh, can projects be saved? Can jobs/projects be saved for reuse? So here's the cool part. All right. And who is that? Sharon. Let's actually go ahead and I'm going to throw this on screen so that people can see this for if you are #replaying. Can jobs or projects be saved for reuse? So let me blow your mind here, Sharon. Inside Leonardo, not only can you save as a standard native file, I know Silhouette allows you to, I know the bug doesn't allow you to, but we allow you to regardless. So you can save a Leonardo Design Studio file into your local hard drive, okay, of your computer. So we're not storing all of your images and then not giving them back to you. You don't pay a subscription to have none of your artwork. You pay to be creative and you pay to have your own artwork and be able to share it, right? So with that, I can go, if I am a pro user, I can export my artwork into a bunch of major file types: SVG, PDF, PNG, JPEG, and TIFF. So a little secret that I told you last time, which I'm going to get the two mad in here because they are technically my bosses. But if you have somebody that has pro and you're a basic user, have them export it, send it to you. I'm just throwing it out there. I'm not telling you what to do. I'm just giving you some information. That's all. So if you do subscribe to Leonardo Design Studio Pro, you do have export options and you do have the freedom to keep your own artwork. Ooh, yep. And that, yeah, sorry. I had just mentioned that, but just to kind of reiterate, as a Leonardo Design Studio file, that can be done in Pro or Basic. So if you are a basic user, save it as a Leonardo file. Again, the cool part is too with Leonardo is you can share these files with your friends, even if it is an LDS file or a Leonardo file. If somebody else has Leonardo, you can share that information with them. And I already told you guys last time, if you're on the layers panel and you actually change the name of any of the colors, those will travel with it too.
Where are the notes? Job notes.
Ooh, job notes. One more time to reiterate. So under the file tab, and then you'll see job notes, and that'll pop up. Now, I'm just going to type in some, let's see, 100 hearts for the viewers. How about we do that? 100 hearts for you guys. So once I actually type in my job notes, I can hit update, and this will actually live on this file indefinitely. So if I were to come back to this later on, I still have all my job notes. If I were to send this on over to somebody else, they'll have my job notes. So from a production standpoint, this is a huge business opportunity for a lot of you. If you are somebody, let me go to the main. I like to make sure that I can say these things to you. If you are somebody that owns a business, this is an awesome opportunity for you. Not only can you save your own job notes, but let's say you're just a designer and you like somebody else is doing your print on demand for you. They're cutting and weeding your vinyl. They're doing all of those. I can throw my job notes in, and if that person has LDS too, then they'll have all of my notes. They'll have all of my information that I need them to have that's pertinent to my file. So I'm going to call it a business solution. You call it whatever you want, but it's a business solution to me. So, all righty. Hop back in. Do we got any other ones?
Is there any way to use Leonardo on 2 home machines, one upstairs, one downstairs, but never at the same time?
Ooh, that's a good one. Okay, so is there any way to use 2 machines in different locations in the house? Here's the cool part about Leonardo, about the cutters themselves. We do not do the Bluetooth thing. I think Bluetooth is archaic. I think Bluetooth is also cheap. I'm sorry to say that for a lot of you out there. I know you have Bluetooth cutters. It's a cheap device to have. We actually physically network to your home. So what we can do, whether you have a business, you have a home network, you can network multiple cutters to it. You can actually identify them all by an IP address. It doesn't matter where they're at in the house. I'll start my cutter upstairs when I'm just hanging out with the kids and I know I have a file to cut. Between you and I, everybody watching, I usually make my son run down and load the cutter for me so I don't have to make the extra trip, but I can still send the cut right from the couch, have it cut, and then by the time the show's over, I'm headed down to the office, the kids are going to bed, and I can get my job done, okay? So it's really super easy for you. What other questions?
To use the markers, do you have to change the holder?
Ooh, that's a good question. Yeah, so to use the markers, do you have to change the holder? Absolutely you do. I think I have. Let me double check, see if I have one here. I did have one over here. So in the actual package, and once part 1 is actually uploaded, you'll be able to see all of what comes in the accessory box. As part of the cutter package, you actually get a marker adapter that is that's available right there for you. So let me go to this cam. And so you can see right there, little marker adapter. And what that'll actually do is I'll take this blade out really quickly. Let me grab a actual sublimation marker. Going to take that, put it right into that that actual adapter itself, and then I can simply load it in, and just like that, I can color to my heart's content, and I can draw, and I can do whatever I need to. So yes, that does come in the actual accessory package or the additional things that you get when you do purchase a Romeo or a Juliet. So get yourself one today. If it isn't just for the marker adapter, I'd pay for it. Anyway, what other questions?
What can be imported or exported, basic versus pro?
Ooh, that's a good one, actually. Let me go to, for the imports, we can import PNG, SVG, that's basic or pro, and I think a TIFF file too, right, Maya? I think a TIFF file. I know a lot of people don't use them, but I like to still say that it's a TIFF file. And then in Leonardo Design Studio Pro, you can import all of those same file types. So whether you're a Adobe Illustrator user, maybe use CorelDRAW for your design software, maybe use another design software, you guys know just as well as I do, you can save it as an SVG or export as an SVG, export as PNGs and all of those kind of things. You can actually import those into Leonardo. So even if Leonardo isn't your main design software, maybe I'm just using Leonardo Design Studio to utilize the power of Romeo and Juliet, the speed, the precision, the accuracy. I can design everything in a separate software, bring it on in, and actually throw my cut file through the cutters themselves. Yeah, go ahead.
What length and width can you cut on Juliet and Romeo?
Really good question. So the Juliet, we say a 12-inch high definition cutter, but this is also not a 12-inch high definition cutter. This can cut, and I know where this question is going, so I'm just going to address it now. Anybody that has that smart material, 13-inch, you can cut it on the Juliet. If you have 25-inch smart material, you can cut it on the Romeo. So if you have any of that smart material laying around, you can cut it just fine. So the Romeo itself is technically 24-inch, but you gain an extra 1.5 inches or so, or a little bit more space, because the actual head of the machine sits into the body of the machine itself. Let's see, what else do we got? Any other questions?
How long can you cut?
Ooh, how long can you? 5 yards. 5 yards is the max length that you can actually cut out of both cutters. But again, one of the real big benefits, and I know we briefly glossed over it when we did the intro to the actual cutter, is that recut option. You don't have to necessarily try to cut as long as 5 yards if you don't need to. I can cut a yard at a time, load in my next piece of material, hit the recut, and just keep going, keep producing. And then actually what we will have on the next After Dark will be all over heat transfer vinyl 101 and all of our Siser materials 101. And in that one, I'm going to really show you some of those bigger business features. Did I answer that one? Okay, cool, sweet. All right, we are ready to move on to the next pieces of the tool panel itself. Now, all of these ones are just how you arrange your artwork itself. So these are all self-explanatory, bringing to the front, bringing to the back, and then also to all of your alignment tools, align center, left, all of that. You guys really want to know, how do I import PNGs? How do we make cool stuff with Leonardo Design Studio? And I have about 10 minutes or so left that we can kind of go over all of that. So we're going to actually import a design right now that I got from our friends over at Creative Fabrica. So thank you so much. Shout out to them. I'm going to hit Control-I or use the File tab to actually import my design. So once I find my design, and I'm going to hover over it, you can see this is a PNG type file type. So this will be a print then cut image. I'm going to go and hit Open. Now the first, let me go ahead. I should probably show you guys in software. I'm so sorry about that. All right, let's go in. Sorry. So I'm going to redo this again just because I wasn't on the actual software. So I'm going to hit Control-I, found my image, which is a PNG file. I'm going to hit Open, and now this will bring me up to that first module, or that first screen in the import options, and it's going to tell me, do I want a print and cut or a background image? For this one, because we'll use like an EasyColor DTV product or a print and cut product, we're going to hit print and cut. Okay. Now the next screen is really awesome because it automatically, let's go. Oh, it's already removed. I'm going to leave it like this, but it automatically starts removing your background for you. So if you have a simple PNG that you already know has a transparent background, it's going to start to find your image. Now, a lot of you out there have told me, you said, Patrick, I use the print and cut option. I've used a Juliet. I'm getting crazy white spaces sometimes around the edges. I'm going to show you how to fix it really quickly. So once I click next, the next screen is basically going to snap my cut lines around my image itself, okay? But I want to actually go back really quick because I want to show you how we can fix this. So in this image, you can see, let me pan this out and let me just bring this up. Okay, so you can see that there's some white spaces in here. Here's what the power of that mass tolerance option is. I can slide that in the negative, meaning I can slide it closer to 0 and see more of that background. Or if I slide it the opposite way, I can now start to kind of cut into the color. So for any of you out there that's saying, hey, I'm still getting white spaces, sometimes it's just about how we're setting up our artwork and ensuring that there is no white space in those cavities already, so that when we do travel to the next screen, and you'll see in real time, it'll scan my image, snap a cut line on it, and now I'm basically done and ready to go. Now I can treat this two different ways. If this is a print and cut image, I don't want all of these cavities in here. But let's say you're a sticker maker at home. You're going to want the cavities to be there because you want a solid background, right? So I can actually hit include holes, deselect it, and now I just have my cut line around the border of this image. Or I can hit include holes to utilize, a DTV, a print and cut material, or whatever you may need. Once I'm done with this, I'm going to hit next. And this is the cool part about this tool from a actual contour standpoint. So a lot of you know that when you're building a contour or you're adding an offset to your image, meaning that you're going to essentially do what I'm doing right now, draw the cut line further away from your image. Most of the time, this is a two-step process for you in your software. You got to import your image, do the remove background, and then bring it in, and then add another shape. You guys already know that it's complicated to add another contour and then create a print and cut and do all that. Right here, it's done. I've been able to grow my offset if I want. Secondly to that, if I'm still realizing or still needing a little bit of assistance on those getting tighter to those edges, I can also click the inset and I can still scale this. And this will actually bring, let's see, here we go. This is a good example of it. So you can see that it's right to the edge now. I can actually inset that cut line. So now I can cut into some of the color, and it doesn't mean It doesn't mean that if I'm cutting into the color that I'm necessarily going to, you know, ruin my entire image. It's just I'm utilizing some of the base color around the border of my image to kind of help and assist a little bit. Okay, so I'm going to bring that back to 0. There we go. Okay. Now once I'm done, it basically brings my design onto my artboard. And as you can see, there's these registration marks. And as we kind of explained last time, these registration marks live with that cut file or live with that design, which I really love. But because Romeo and Juliet and Leonardo have the smallest margins out there, I can just snap those registration marks right to the edge of my page. So you can see how close to the border now I can get to actually scale up my image. Okay. Now, what I can do from here is I can use one, or because this is already a living print and cut file, I can just duplicate that and I can, there we go, sorry. Then I can create as many as I want right from this screen. So really, really easy. And as you can see on my layers panel, it's basically giving me each of those in the first layer, but it's giving me each of those cut files. So now you can also identify the parts of your design that you want to either change. Maybe there's a color in there you want to delete. Maybe there's a contour. Everything's available for you right there. Okay. Let's go in. Let's see. What other questions do we have? I know that that was a big one, so I wanted to make sure it was answered. Ooh, I did have another one that was asked sidebar, but what do you have?
Oh, just shout out to May.
Ooh. Oh, yeah. Big shout out. By the way, big shout out. I wish I should have grabbed Brett's. Yeah. Anyway, yeah, I did mention in the last one too, Ellie Mae has an actual like beginner's guide to Romeo and Juliet and has a lot of great information in there. Definitely, if you haven't already, follow Swift Creek Customs, check out Ellie Mae's ebook, either get the digital copy, or I just texted her about it. I realized there is an actual printed copy. So I'm really excited because that's going to live somewhere in this studio space somewhere. So with that, let's go into some more questions here. So let's see. You said what?
Importing the file from print and cut.
How do you do that?
Oh, like actually just importing your file? Okay, so to import your actual image, it has to be a PNG file type because the background's naturally removed. When we import, again, we can hit that. Or am I off track on that one? Oh, sorry. Yes, I'm sorry. I'm trying to go back in a process. So raster type images are your print and cut images, or you'll typically hear vector or SVG for like your basic cuttable files, if that makes sense. So any of your sticker making typically are SVGs, or any of your heat transfer vinyls, typically like an SVG. Your print and cut images, your full color print. What I have right here, DTV on my shirt, just for you guys. Here, hold on. Show you the product plug. Got DTV, and I also have EasyWeed on the shirt. So this is a great example of both. The DTV part is the raster, that's the photo. And then the tape that I have on there, that is all in EasyWeed. So that is a SVG or a vectored image, or a vectored, sorry, graphic, should I say. So, all right, what other ones do we have in there? Information on, will you be going over any information on the camera? Do we have for a quick print and cut? Do you want me to go through quick print and cut? Okay, let's do this. Let me actually set up this file one more time. I'm going to fly through it this time so that we can actually set up a print and cut image and we can go over this. So I'm just going to really quickly, actually I want to hardwire all of these in. So let me go into software and I'm going to import my image. We'll do this baseball image just because it's the closest one up. I'm going to change my mask tolerance a little bit here like we did before. Gonna hit next, and now I'm just basically going back through those print and cut alignment options and all of that stuff. So we're gonna hit finish, and I'm not gonna make this the full size because I really want you guys to just kind of see the registration and how that works. But I will show you one quick thing before I actually get to cutting this out, is that you can, if you are somebody that likes to keep your registration marks with your image, you don't wanna use a full page, you have the ability to change your mark spacing and actually bring those a little bit closer to your image so that now I'm not wasting as much space. So if I'm using a sheet of DTV, I could cut this image out and I still have this, whether I want to do print and cut, I want to grab a Sharpie and draw on it, I want to use a marker and actually create something fun with the kids. I now have a little scrap piece that I can use. So let's scale this image up, and I don't want my mark spacing to be that close. Let's do that. And then we're going to go 1, 2, 5. There we go. Okay. So from here, now the next step in this process is I need to make sure the printer is on, which it is. And I'm going to grab a piece of DTV. And this is the part where I do the product plug. If you're in the market for print and cut or full color printing and you want to do it from the convenience of home and same day, grab yourself some DTV. There's my product plug, sorry. Had to drop that really quick. All right, I'm gonna open up my DTV. Now, the cool thing is about EasyColor DTV that a lot of you may not know is that it actually, there's two sides of it. And this is a really easy identifier. I know a lot of you will do print and cut with larger format print and cut and all that kind of stuff. And you'll see the back and the front of your material is white, okay? I'm gonna throw on this camera really quick because I want you guys to be able to see the table. There's that. And we're good, cool. All right. So EasyColor DTV is a really awesome material because the front, oh, let's go right there, sorry. There we go. The actual printable area or the printable portion of the DTV is all pure white. And then if you flip it on over to the back, which I know the camera is a little bit harder to see, but this is actually a little bit more of a frosted, has more of a bluish hue to it. So you really can identify whether this is the printable side or that's the printable side. If you are somebody that has like an Epson back-fed non-cassette type tray that has just a back tray, you'll load your DTV with the printable side facing towards the outside of the print, meaning facing towards the printer. So when it's fed through the back, you'll actually feed straight print and then you'll be ready to go. If you have a Canon, you have some of the more expensive Epsons, you'll actually load your material in the bottom cassette tray face down, meaning printable side down, and this will actually flip your material over and print so that you're ready to actually cut, okay? So that's just a quick thing. Let me load up the printer. And let's see here. Okay. Let's grab a quick cord here. And I'm gonna physically plug this printer in just because it'll be a little bit easier to connect. All right. Like I had this down here because I wasn't intending on doing it, but when the people want it, we got to show it. All right, plug it in. And by the way, I know some of you out there, I get it, you're true to your cords that come with your machines. I'm actually using a Juliet cord to run my printer. Just saying, might be a reason to buy just because you can use the cords for other stuff. All right, with that, I am now going to hop back into Leonardo Design Studio. And now I have my image up on screen. Now, for me personally, I like to use the hotkeys C and V. I like to center my image to my page when I am doing stuff. So this will give me a little bit of waste, but I think for the sake of conversation, this is going to help you to understand what I'm working with here. So I'm going to select my printer option. I'm going to find the printer that I'm working with right now, which is the 3830. And for EasyColor DTV, honestly, you don't need to really change anything. And quite honestly, if you are changing your profile to really, really vivid and really high profiled, a lot of times what can happen is you can have oversaturation of your material. So I always go plain paper. And if I have the option to go standard vivid, I just go standard vivid. It's a little bit more color, but not too much to where, again, it'll flood that sheet and it'll look kind of yucky. So you can see here I have a paper cassette on this, just like we talked about. So I've loaded this into the bottom tray of my printer, printed side face down. I'm gonna hit OK. Oops, I don't know why this did this to me last time too. And then I'm going to simply select Send Design. So now I have my page set, have my printer in here. I can choose if I want to create more copies. So I can hit the copy option and print multiple. And let's see, actually, I'm going to print 2 of these. Now with EasyColor DTV, this is very important. Do not mirror. Do not mirror your image because you're printing and cutting in the same orientation that you'll transfer and you'll be able to read, okay? So I'm going to send this onto my printer. Good there, good there. And eventually the printer wants to start up. We had to warm up today, guys. Give it just a second. Had to warm up today. All righty. So now I have my first page of EasyColor DTV. You got to trust the process. You just got to trust it. You just got to trust.
Fast way to make transfer.
I mean, quite honestly, here we go, guys. You just saw in real time within what we say this printed out in 10 seconds or so. I just made 2 transfers. That is $1.70 for the sheet, $1.70 for this sheet. Add in a t-shirt, you're selling this for 25 bucks. Pretty simple. Pretty simple concept. I love it. This is one of the real big reasons why I love using DTV for a lot. As you can see, I like DTV. All right. So I'm going to bring my printer on. Ooh, I'm going in 2 different directions. Let me unplug this. I'll bring it this way. Done.
You don't have to wait in the mail for your transfer.
You don't even have to. That's Johan made a really good point right here. I don't. If I'm ordering bulk DTF transfer, I gotta wait. I got a lot of lead time. Sometimes it could take me a couple days. It could take me 3 days, whatever. Even if it says same day shipping, remember shipping doesn't also account for UPS delays or FedEx delays or anything else. But I do know a guarantee is I can go to any of my retail stores or anybody that sells Siser materials, pick up a fancy schmancy pack of EasyColor DTV, and I can get my job done. To actually, right now it's almost 8 o'clock my time. I can get my job done by 8:30. Done to your doorstep. I'll even drop it off for you personally. Not me, because I know some of you guys are far away, but you know what I mean. You guys know what I mean. Anyway, I have my EasyColor DTV. I do have to find a way because I am connected to this, and I don't want to necessarily get off of Wi-Fi. Let's see. I'm going to go ahead and hit cutter. You guys may see a slight delay, and then we're right back. I promise you. Nothing happened. Nothing happened. Okay, we're good. Okay, so now what I'm going to do is I'm going to actually go over to my Juliet. And look at that. It's like I almost planned to do this. I have a beautiful shot of the Juliet here. I'm going to, one of 2 things I can do. If I have enough room, if I have about 2.5 inches or so, which this is a little less than that, 2.5 inches or so above my design, I can actually send this through without even using a cutting mat. But because I am a little close to the top, I'm going to grab a quick cutting mat. And inside the Leonardo Design Studio package, you actually get, as part of the accessories and things that come with it, you'll get a 12 by 12, typically high-tack cutting mat that comes in, because we didn't switch over to the light tack yet, right? Okay. You get a high-tack cutting mat, which we make it super easy too. High-tack is in black. Light tack or low tack is in red. Really make it easy for you. Okay. Let's go in now. Go to this shot. Oop, not that one. Let's go to 3. So I have my mat up. Let's get rid of these guys here. We'll use just the mat that comes in here. I'm going to simply line up my material, just line up the bottom edge. And the cool thing is about our print and cut in software too, is that print and cut image actually has a little tiny caret, which we'll see better on the Juliet camera here in 1 second. So I'll take my mat, load it into my cutter. Like to make it easy. Now, if I ever have something where I have, say, like a pinch wheel that's over my print, this is a really good indicator that maybe I move my sheet over so that my print isn't actually running on those pinch wheels. And that's one of the cool parts about the Juliet is with the movable pinch wheels, I can get all of those out of the way. And then I can put my material right back on my mat. Make sure that it's all there. And then now I know that my pinch wheels will help hold my material, but now everything's out of the way of my print. So for any of you out there that are having issues with any of your printing or I'm sorry, not printing, but the cutting portion and misalignment, that's one way to also fix it to make it a little easier. So going to use deep cut blade. It's weird. We just launched this brand new fancy tool, deep cut blade. And not only is it for, you know, other materials like strip flock and everything else, but it's also could be used for DTV. Let me make sure that pinch wheel are there. Oops, here we go. Sorry, I just got to adjust this guy here just a little bit. There we go. Cool. Done, done, done. That's lined up now, and we're good to go. So now what I'm going to do is, because I have a little bit of material, I'm going to do some testing for you guys, make your lives a lot easier. Because I have some dead space, I'm going to actually do my test cutting. So I can go into the actual main cutting menu inside Juliet, which is our cut settings. I've already put in a sticker material because we were working with some sticker material, but I can go down to my other tab and I can find one of these open spaces, and I can actually change that space by hitting rename, and then I can delete all this out. We're going to put DTV because it's EasyColor direct to vinyl, hit save. And now I can select that option again. And now I can go in and change my speed, my force, and create a custom cut setting. So we're going to crank up the speed. So I like living life on the edge. And we're going to bring our force up to about, let's go 12 to start. And now I have this fancy schmancy test cut button. So one of my friends in Siser, Stephanie, always says test cut, test cut, test cut. We're going to simply hit a quick test cut with this new deep cut blade. Grab our weeder. Make sure that everything is coming apart properly. That's good. And then I'm going to simply line up my blade in the bottom right registration mark. And I'm going to actually draw this since I'm on the overhead and this is really hard to see here. Sometimes from a distance, I'm going to use another type of ink that actually works with EasyColor DTV. Little Sharpie action. I'll say permanent marker for copyright purposes, sorry. But each of these registration marks look like basically a big L, okay, in every direction. Don't mind my bad artwork here. But that bottom left registration mark will always have this little tiny caret or little tiny triangle in the bottom corner, indicating what registration mark we want to start with. Well, when I align my blade with this page, I just want to make sure that my blade is just inside that registration mark, just inside. Think of that registration mark as a 1 inch by 1 inch square. We just got to get the blade somewhere within that 1 inch square. The camera, the high definition camera you guys will see right now, will do the rest for us. So I'm going to line my blade up, make sure it's done appropriately. And now I'm going to head back into Leonardo Design Studio. You saw us print, okay? And actually, while I'm getting to the cutting portion, I can start printing more of these too. That's another option that you have. But I'm going to go down to my actual cut file itself. Are you laughing at me over there?
No.
All right.
I jumped in.
Oh, Anna's hanging out and she's in the comments. The maestro didn't want to come here, ditched us for this, but still popped in the comments. Hey, guys. Oh, yeah, that's right. Oh, you guys are at the game having fun. I think you just didn't want to hang out. All right, cool. Well, thank you so much. All right, so I'm going to go ahead and grab my cut file, which is also identified on the Send Design screen. And again, I'm not going to touch anything. I want to use my cutter settings. Now, if you guys have any custom cut settings or you want to add any custom cut settings, you can deselect this option. And there is a full media preset library. And this has things like cardstock. This has heat transfer. This has pressure sensitive vinyl. Has everything for you. But there's these 3 little fancy dots that you can actually go in and update, change, save, and upload your own cut settings. So if you are somebody like an Ellie Mae, who is always gracious to share stuff with me anytime I've asked her, so thank you, you can actually go into there, save your cut settings to your local hard drive, and send them on over to your friends. So if your friend's like, I don't know why this 300 GSM cardstock's not working, it's driving me crazy. That is one thing that you can actually send that on over, even if you have that honed in and now your friends can do what you're doing. What do we got? Oh, I can figure out how to. Oh, God. Come on now, Anna. Jeez Louise. All right. Well, let's go back to, let's ditch her for a little bit. Let's go back on over to the cutter. And what we're going to see in real time, and this is my favorite part of just watching Juliet, is I want to actually, first off, need to make sure that my Wi-Fi is connected properly. So to connect my Wi-Fi, and somebody asked earlier, can I run multiple machines? Yes. From my home menu, I'm going to select settings and then Wi-Fi. This will connect to your local network, your business network, home network, whatever it may be. But there is a cutter identification number, which is an IP address up in the upper portion of this screen. So I'm going to take that number and I'm going to go into Leonardo and I can actually change that. And let's go to 4. And I want to show you inside Leonardo, when we get a positive connection for a Wi-Fi connection, what I actually am going to do is I'm going to hit this little guy here. And if it goes away from me or away completely, that means it's a positive connection. If you get this type of error, like you just saw happen, that means that I actually have something incorrect. So I'm going to go back to my IP address. Okay. So now I can go in. All right. So now I have the appropriate IP address. Click that. And now it just gave me the indication that, hey, we're good. Well, I connected. I talked to Juliet. Her and I are hanging out on the weekends. We're good now. So what I'm going to do is head back on over to the Juliet, and there is a awesome area test option. And this is just what I like to use when I do connect to Wi-Fi. What we'll see in real time is it will actually draw the blade around the perimeter of my design without actually dropping the blade or cutting anything. This allows me to see, is my blade going to fall off my material, fall off my mat, or is it going to go too far to one edge and error out? Not worried about that. What we're going to do is simply hit send to cutter. Now, what you're going to see in real time is you're going to see this high definition camera scan every one of those registration marks. Now, right now, what I'm having is it's starting to fail on me. And it's telling me, try to do this on purpose to show you this. It's telling me, hey, this didn't work. Well, check this out. This little screen here has a little red crosshair. I can simply move it closer to the actual print and cut registration mark. Once I get that centered to my screen, select in the center of the screen, hit OK again. And as you can see, it now registers my marks with ease. So it's a really quick, easy fix, even if something were to fail on you or even if something were to happen. And now we just get to enjoy the power and the speed and the beauty of Juliet. We'll give her a second. It's super loud, so I wanted to make sure that I waited for it to get done before we talked again.
How does the Romeo compare to print and cut?
Ooh, that's a really good question. So the Romeo, both print and cut are phenomenal on both cutters, but I will tell you that the Romeo allows you just a bigger platform. So we are going to do in the print and cut, I'm going to bring in the big printer. I have a 20-inch printer. We're going to actually use that 20-inch material. And we're going to do 20-inch DTV cuts and show you how to actually upscale and make bigger prints. The Romeo just gives you more space. It's just as accurate as the Juliet. It's just as fast. The connectivity is awesome. But again, like we showed you last time, the comparison to a Romeo and a Juliet, I mean, this thing is huge. This is your all-in-one business solution. A lot of you guys out there have bought some of the bigger cutters that are out there in the world, right? And I know, just as much as you know, you spent a ton of money on it, and most of those are now paperweights because we didn't find the use. This thing right here, this is $6.99, guys. This is cheap. Oh, and what did you say? And bundles on Amazon. And bundles on Amazon, guys. You can get yourself a Romeo super cheap. It's the fastest, the most precise, the most accurate, the best cutter. Well, I mean, I might be a little biased to it, but I will tell you, I have one of these in my house. I also have a Juliet. I run both of them all the time. And we actually have some of our friends over in the UK. They're running 3 Juliets at one time. It's kind of crazy. Ooh, all right. That one's just for signatures. That one's just for people that we collab with. So I let that one go. All right, let's hop on over. I want to just change really quick let's make that a little bit not as crazy bright for you so you can really see what I'm doing. There we go. And then we're going to actually pop down to our EasyColor DTV page right here. So I have my print. I have my cut. Let's see what happened. I'm going to go in and just actually take away all of my cavities first. And as you can see, I'm peeling away the cavities one by one. There you go. And now what I'm going to do, now that all my cavities, and remember, we're doing same day printing. I'm doing this for a family, a friend, a business. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 picks. That's all I had to do for this image. And you saw how quick I was able to do it. And now I'm going to pull from the edge and make sure. There we go. Look at that. Peeling it, peeling it, peeling it. Some would say we're peeling, wheeling, and dealing. Check that out. So now we have our EasyColor DTV transfer already ready. Watch this. Let me show you how quick. Do print on demand. Let's show you how to do print and cut on demand. How about that? Bring the power back to the business owner, the small business owner, should I say. I'm going to take this transfer sheet, remove that, and I'm going to align this up. You can either go hot dog or hamburger style, like when we're in elementary school. You get to decide, but start from the center of your image, drop that material or drop that transfer down, let it naturally fall, and don't touch it for a second. Grab a Siser squeegee, best squeegee in the world. Start from the center of your print, and you're going to just work your way out to the edges. And you can see I'm not putting a lot of force. I'm not putting a lot of energy or effort into this. We're just going to see how it works with the standard transfer. And I'm going to show you too that if for whatever reason we have any lifting or we don't have a good transfer, I'll show you how to fix it. But just like that. Ooh, fancy. Look at that. So now what I want to do is I'm going to get rid of this. And if I am a business owner and I'm making transfers, again, print and cut on demand, should I say, I'm going to simply put it back on the original cover sheet or original backing paper that the actual transfer tape came on. And now I can take this, I can store it for later, or I can bring it on over to the heat press and give it a quick press. So just like that, showed you how to upscale your business. Whether you are somebody that's crafting and you're buying DTF or you're buying any of these other products out there, they're all great. This not only can get you same day transfer, this can also be just your simple mock-up. Maybe you're a screen print shop, right? And you need something quick that you can apply a bunch of color to, get it off to the customer, because you're not burning screens and charging your customer. Come on, we're in 2025. You're not charging for screens to send one example. Send them a physical example. Don't send them a mock-up in software anymore. Send them something that's tangible so you guys can take the power of your business back in your own hands. EasyColor DTV is one of the best for it. So with that said, do we have any big questions that come in, or are we ready to wrap it up? Cool. All right, so we don't have any big ones coming in. Thank you guys so much once again as we come to the end of the Siser After Dark, Leonardo, Romeo, Juliet, Part 2. Tomorrow on Friday, what is the date tomorrow on Friday? Is it 28th? 28th. Okay, so Friday the 28th, we're going to have both Part 1 and Part 2 both uploaded over on YouTube. We're going to start a playlist there. So no matter if it's me, if it's Stephanie, maybe we'll bring Cortez in. We got Pat Boyle. Maybe you guys will actually help me out and get me. Maybe we'll make Anna do a Siser After Dark. Maybe we'll make her teach one. We don't know. But anyways, you'll be able to find them all in that playlist over on our YouTube channel. So make sure that you follow along. Siser North America over on YouTube, Siser North America on all platforms to find out more. What's up, Johan?
We want to learn also what they want to learn. So please drop it on.
Yes.
Send it to us on the platform.
Absolutely.
However ways.
As Johan just said too, he has said, Patrick, you talk to the people and you ask the people what they want. So we're coming to you guys too. Make sure that you're dropping comments onto those YouTube videos. Make sure that you reach out to us at social@SiserNA.com. I'll actually throw that up really quick here in a banner. Let's go. I know Anna's watching, so she's going to kill me that I'm sending out the social one. But social@SiserNA.com. Let us know what you want to see. Let us know what you want to learn. The power of the Siser After Darks and this education is in your hands. We just wanted to come at a convenient time for you. I want to know what you want to talk about. So the next one that we're going to actually do will be coming up next month, towards the middle of the month, and that will be your heat transfer material 101. We're going to go over everything about heat transfer vinyls, about pressure sensitive vinyls, and all of that kind of stuff. And then from there, we're off to the races. You guys tell us what you want to learn. You guys tell us what you want to do. And I'm really excited for what this next chapter sees and what we're able to present to you guys just on a regular basis. So until next time, again, make sure that you're following along at Siser everywhere. Make sure that you always go to SiserNA.com as well. We update everything. That's where you can find the After Darks. That's where you can find material 101s. Everything that you need is available to you. But until next time, happy creating, guys. Bye, everyone.
Thank you.